House Committee on University advises Vice Chancellors to prioritize maintenance of infrastructure. And 6 kingpins, 16 other convicts bag 302 years in jail for drug peddling. The Nigerian Army tasks personnel and proficiency in military operations. Hello and welcome to Newsday's Card 6 on Nta News24. I am Claire Adilabu Abdurrazak, and we begin from Gombe State, where Governor Mohammed Inuwa Yahya says northern governors are working to complement federal government food security efforts. Now, he gave the assurance while briefing State House correspondents after meeting with Vice President Kashim Shettima at the presidential villa.
Arose. But I would like to believe that all the states, and in conjunction with the federal government, especially with the support given by the federal government, are trying to address those issues. And I believe recently the prices of food commodities have started to drop. So the drop in price, coupled with the palliative that the states and the federal government have extended, will help to stabilize the situation, and the situation will improve by the grace of God.
The governor also spoke on the issue of implementation of the new minimum wage recently approved by state government.
Most states have set up committees. In Gombe, we have a standing committee, which we had since 2020, and is headed by the deputy governor. They are working with the labor unions and all other members to try to see that we get to, but it's a law according to, the Senate President. Every state, it has to be, you see, implementation normally has to go with consequential adjustment, and each state has to go with the process properly so that we kick it and get it right.
And in other news, in continuation of its statutory oversight to federal universities across the country, the House of Representatives Committee on University Education is advising Vice Chancellors to prioritize maintenance of existing infrastructure rather than initiating new ones. National Assembly correspondent Mohammed Rabiu Ali reports that this was during an interface with the management of the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, Imo State, and First Lady.
Because those are the issues that the committee will take to Parliament, take to Federal Ministry of Education. That this school here has so side of land, but unfortunately, so side of land has been taken over by people. We need federal government's intervention to recover this land for the school.
Our tax, as mandated by the Constitution and the House, is to help you put your books in order. If we do not point out this and you reconcile with the chairman and the secretariat, at the end of the day, if public account ceases, they will be wondering what this committee is doing.
These are observations of the committee on some of the projects at different levels of completion. Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, Professor Nta attributes the delay in the completion of projects to lack of funds, calling on the committee to intervene.
Lack of perimeter fencing creates enormous insecurity challenges for us. So Photo is porous. Another thing, of course, is that there is no residence here. We have no staff housing here. So once it's 3 o'clock, everybody begins to head to town.
At Alvani Koko Federal University of Education, the committee members were briefed by the Vice Chancellor on the challenges of poor enrollment of students.
We are just we're not up to 1 year as a university. We have been operating at the college education level and also interfacing with the house communities. Now, God has upgraded us and also given us people like you that need to help us grow.
The oversight visit has taken the committee to 3 out of the 6 geopolitical zones in the country. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, Nta News.
And now for Africa to optimize her advantage in abundant natural resources and take a quantum leap in human development, the continent must look inwards for solution, starting with right education for her youth. And Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu gave this submission during an audience with Burundian ambassador to Nigeria, Edward Ndowimana. State House correspondent Adeniyi Taiwo reports.
Since 2006, Nigeria and Burundi have enjoyed good relations, and the ambassador of the East African country, Edward Ndowimana, is at the office of Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu on a mission to strengthen the ties.
Africa is a continent that is good.
The solution to Africa's problems lie with Africans, the First Lady was quick to say, noting that it is time for African countries to strengthen the bond of brotherhood for development on the continent. She says the days of taking the natural resources that the continent is endowed with for granted are over, and called on leaders to work towards empowering and enlisting youths in developmental efforts.
And I thank God that Africa has known that the way out for us is to make sure that our youth are educated so that they can really have the right of place in the marketplace. So, and I believe that the youth should realize that they need to really brace themselves up. When we continue to do what is right for them and also lead by example, we'll be able to win our youth over so that they can join in how we build, the next century.
While Burundi's desire and request for investment from Nigeria has already been laid before the president, the ambassador says the visit is to register his country's appreciation for the First Lady's interest and support for education. The ambassador, who spoke in French, acknowledged that Burundi has had its fair share of challenges, but notes that the country is now back on the path of peace and progress.
We have also established a commission for peace and reconciliation, and we are on our way to development.
He equally presented an invitation from the First Lady of Burundi, Angeline Ndayubaha, to her Nigerian counterpart, seeking a visit to Burundi. In the State House, Adeniyi Taiwo, Nta News.
All right, and back home, protection of fundamental rights of the people is a dire obligation on both state and non-state actors. Now, by virtue of several proclamations, these are universal rights which remain unbuggable. Dele Atumbe of our Judiciary Desk takes a look at how the collaboration between ECOWAS Community Court and the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees will protect the rights of the people.
That they are refugees, asylum seekers, or stateless persons does not take away from them their fundamental rights. The rights of these set of people, including those of internally displaced persons, are protected by several United Nations treaties affirmed by some states all over the world. International, national and subnational tiers of government are under obligation to protect this category of people. The protection of their rights brought about the establishment of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. It is a known fact that everyone has the right to life, liberty, and the right to freedom from fear. These are the rights which the collaboration between the ECOWAS Community Court and the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees seek to protect. Vice President of the ECOWAS Community Court affirmed the resolve of the court to continue to uphold fundamental rights of the people.
Now, regarding the practical implementation of the amicus curiae or expert opinions, I'd like to reassure you that the President of the court, though absent, has given instructions to the Chief Registrar.
I really want to thank the court for its incredible collaboration with UNHCR and really the initiatives that it has taken to ensure that the rights of refugees, internally displaced persons and stateless persons within the ECOWAS community, that their rights are respected through the decisions of the court.
This resolution of the court tallies with the mandate of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees.
Beyond the competence of the court and beyond the space of the ECOWAS community, we of course carry out our mandate activities regarding the protection of refugees and stateless persons worldwide. This is of course a global mandate that we have. We do have a presence in 103 countries and in about 150 locations. And our job is essentially that which, in fact, where we work together with the courts as well, which is to ensure that the host governments respect the rights of refugees and stateless persons and internally displaced persons.
Available record has shown that over 170 million people worldwide are forcibly displaced. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, Nta News.
All right, I was battling with that word, unbuggable. It actually means unbeatable. All right, so intensifying surveillance across the country, as well as reporting cases of rashes for risk profiling to curtail the spread of monkeypox in Nigeria, has been re-echoed on Good Morning Nigeria. Now, the guests are emphatic that though the strain in Nigeria at the moment is less virulent, health workers must be on high alert given the unpredictable nature of viruses to mutate. Here is Lydia Sampson, who monitored the report.
Though Mpox is highly transmitted through sexual contact, medical experts are urging Nigerians to be cautious, prepared, and continuously wash their hands and use sanitizers to contain the spread of the disease in Nigeria. They are optimistic that if lessons learned in curtailing Ebola and COVID-19 are deployed, Nigeria can contain the disease.
Mpox is not like COVID that is spread through, by aerosol and others. But this one is contact. You have to come into contact, either skin to skin contact or sexual contact and all this. So it makes it much easier, to really, protect yourself from Mpox. But unfortunately, and that is the most important aspect there, almost 80% of the cases are mild.
We have that collaborations and we have the exchange program whereby we can support the other countries, and that is why we have the system in place whereby each member country have what we call the SOCH staff. We call it Rapid Response Register for each countries. Then the African country have the central one whereby they look at what individual country have in terms of capacity to be able to support other countries.
The guest reiterates continuous health education to equipping the people with knowledge is critical.
We need to be able to produce our vaccines. There may be a time when we would need to vaccinate people against Mpox because there's a vaccine for it. Okay. But again, the most important vaccine is our attitude. Hygiene conscious, wash your hands as frequently as possible, be clean, personal hygiene, environmental hygiene, environmental sanitation, keep your ears open so that if you hear of something that could affect you, you respond appropriately.
Tracking coordinated response amongst countries, the health experts acknowledge must be expanded. They also emphasize the need for more funding and equipping of primary healthcare centers for proactive interventions. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, Nta News.
And we'll take you to Kogi State, where an initiative aimed at improving healthcare accessibility is set to launch. Now, the program will provide free medical services to residents across that state. And here is a Jibola Christopher's compilation presented from our studio.
This meeting follows a 3-day medical outreach organized by members of the Nigerian Medical Association and other healthcare professionals in the state. Governor Dudu announced that the program will include a health train featuring various healthcare professionals. This initiative will visit different regions of the state, delivering medical services and supporting secondary and primary healthcare delivery.
We are going to introduce Kogi State Health Train so that we can serve our people better. And of course, we are going to have a plan so that we can carry out another one before the end of the year. My administration will never play with health. A healthy society is a wealthy society.
Dr. Abdulaziz Adams, the State Commissioner for Health, acknowledged the medical team for their successful free medical outreach, noting it as evidence of the dedication of the state's healthcare professionals.
The outreach was actually sincerely far-reaching to the people. It enabled us to deliver healthcare services to the people.
I must commend the state government for that edifice. Reference Hospital Okene is wonderful. What I would recommend for government is there is need for public-private partnership to be able to run that hospital and maximize the benefit.
Professor Solomon Avidime, Chief Medical Director of Reference Hospital Okene and host to the medical team, commended the governor for his approach to healthcare and for addressing gaps in healthcare coverage across Kogi State.
Ajibola Christopher compiled that report from Kogi State for us. You're watching News Desk at 6 on Nta News24. Let's take a short break. The news will return presently.
My vision for our country is one of a just and prosperous nation where each person may enjoy the peace, freedom, and meaningful livelihood that only democratic good governance can provide. One that is open, transparent, and accountable to the Nigerian people.
Welcome back. And Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, says the present administration will continue to evolve programs and policies aimed at improving the lives of the citizenry. Now, she stated this while presenting assorted food items to internally displaced persons, IDPs, people living with disabilities, and vulnerable persons in Benue State. Simbiat Agbaje reports that the First Lady was represented by wife of the Vice President, Hajia Nana Shetima.
In line with the declaration of emergency on food security by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Renewed Hope Initiative, a pet project of the First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has continued to leverage on accomplishing this task by ensuring that Nigerians receive the attention and comfort they deserve. She demonstrated this with the donation of a truckload of assorted food items to the Benue State government for onward distribution to the less privileged.
I want to appreciate His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu for initiating this platform to remember the vulnerable persons with disability. We are very excited in the midst of the hardship that people are going through in the state. This will go a long way for us. We're all very happy today.
Nigeria's First Lady, represented by the wife of the Vice President, Hajia Nana Shetima, disclosed that in addition to the food items, 37,000 women in the country will soon benefit from the Renewed Hope Initiative Recapitalization Grant.
I want to assure you that we will continue to do all we can to support and encourage you, especially families in vulnerable communities.
The Deputy Governor Sam Ode assured the benefactor that the food items will be given to the target beneficiaries in the 23 local government areas.
This partnership between the federal government of Nigeria and Benue State governments holds a lot of promise for our people. We take not for granted all that you do for us.
The First Lady's gesture is to be replicated in the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. In Makudi, Simbia Tagbaji, NTA News.
And we have news just in now from the State House, precisely from our State House correspondent Musba Dan Wahab, and he's reporting that President Tinubu is back to Abuja after a 3-day official visit to Equatorial Guinea. Once again, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is back in Abuja after a 3-day official visit to Equatorial Guinea. There will be more stories later on as we get them from our correspondent, State House correspondent, Musbat Dan Wahab. And to other stories now. 3 kingpins and 16 other offenders have been convicted and sentenced to a total of 302 years in prison for trafficking and dealing in illicit drugs such as cocaine, heroin, cannabis, and opioids, following their arrest and diligent prosecution by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA. Now, the 19 convicts topped the list of 414 drug traffickers and dealers convicted by the Federal High Court in Benue, Bauchi, Edo, Lagos, Ogun, Gombe, and the Federal Capital Territory FCT, Abuja, between July the 1st and 31st, 2024, based on charges filed against them by the Anti-Narcotics Agency. Chief Executive Officer of NDLEA, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, retired, comments judiciary says imprisonment will strengthen the determined effect of NDLEA's drug supply reduction efforts. And addressing operational gaps, focus on producing skilled and competent personnel for various military engagements require continuous training to make the Nigerian Army a highly motivated force towards achieving its responsibility within a joint environment. General Officer Commanding 82 Divisions, Nigerian Army Major General Hassan Dada, stated this at the inauguration of 82 Division Leadership Awareness and Development Course 9 2024 for senior non-commissioned officers in Calabar. Udwak Etim reports.
The Nigerian Army is at the forefront of protecting the nation's territorial integrity. Therefore, the need for training to ensure professionalism is necessary. Hence, the inauguration of 82 Division Leadership Awareness and Development Course 9 2024 for senior non-commissioned officers, hosted by the 13th Brigade Nigerian Army, Calabar. The General Officer Commanding 82 Division Nigerian Army, Major General Hassan Dada, in his inaugural speech, emphasizes on discipline and professionalism.
I therefore urge you to not leave any out of doubt unsaid and take the leadership awareness and development course seriously for the benefit of the Nigerian Army in particular and the nation as a whole.
Director General Nigerian Army Resource Center, Major General Garba Wahab, retired, in his lecture on the course objective and exposition of the Chief of Army Staff Command philosophy, urges participants to apply knowledge acquired for operational success, as leadership qualities was also presented by Professor Oke Ikechukwu.
Everybody is not challenged. You don't have to wait for a senior man to tell you what to do. You must be knowledgeable about your responsibility. Know the responsibility of the other agencies. And that way, the issue of clashes and whatever is reduced to the barest minimum.
And then talking about implementation as a leader, that's the able what we call executive action, because you have to then go to implementation strategies. Every leader should develop a mental mindset that always demanding for implementation strategies.
There was presentation of souvenirs to GOC, service chiefs in Cross River State, and others. In Calabar, Udwak Etam, NTA News.
And a committee to see to the successful conduct of the 2024 Service of Night Lessons and Carols has been inaugurated. Director General of NTA, Abdul Hamid Dembas, represented by the Executive Director, Engineering Ije Osage, assures the committee's representatives from the NTA, FRCN, and VON of the foremost media organizations' support for the success of the annual event.
But I know that may not be enough for us. So if you have to have a very good outing, a very rich outing, then money will be spent. Money has to be spent. So and that money has to be sourced for.
The organizations to look far more into the budgeting and the sponsorship of the program.
We are not going to fall short of the expectations. So at the end of the day, the name of the Lord will be glorified.
And NTA is to host this year's edition. The 2024 Service of Night Lessons and Carol is expected to hold first Sunday of December. And once again, thank you for watching News Desk at 6 on NTA News 24. Don't forget to watch the news at 7 on NTA International and, of course, Network News at 9 on the network service. I am Claire Adelabu Abdulrazak. Have a good evening.
Where am I supposed to stand?